Hey, JulesBlessedVegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are new, I know you can benefit. People, did I mention that I've been struggling with food? I know. And there's people out there, I can already hear them saying, stop the nonsense. It's just yes or no, there's no struggle. It's like when they say that you're either standing or sitting. There is no try. It's a whole Yoda thing, right? There is no try. Do or do not. There is no try. Well, it's just a very interesting time for me, okay? And I know I can already hear some of you thinking, my gosh, you mean even the rich and famous like JulesBlessedVegan struggle? I mean, is there any hope for me at all if someone that rich, that hot, and that famous struggles? I could not resist. Yeah, the struggle's real, people. You can have everything and still struggle. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I don't want to overanalyze it. I don't want to overshare details at the risk of provoking someone else. I am just going through it. I will put it that way. And it's a situation for me where I know that, like, if I blink and pause in between the blink, I'll be at 300 pounds. I'm not kidding you. If I blink and decide that I don't care, I'll be at 350. Like, that's how it is for me. Not even kidding you. I can't think of the number of times in my life where I seemingly did not have my eyes open. And when I looked in the mirror, I was like, wait, who are you? And how the heck did we get here? Like, that's how it is for me. I know the danger right now. So I have literally lost and gained. So where are we? So the COVID started in March, which was the 3rd month. We literally just started the 11th month. And to be fair, it was really like March 13th, so about mid-month. So we're just coming up on nearly 8 months, right? Nearly 8 months. And people joke about the COVID-19 and the weight that people put on. I am not kidding you when I say that I have lost and gained 14 pounds 5 times. 5 times. Now, some people will say, well, I'm sure it was water weight. I wish. Are you kidding me? My body doesn't play. It does not play. When I gain weight, it is pound for pound. And when I want to take it off, I have to take it off pound for pound. I'm not one of those people who can drink water for 48 hours and get the water weight off. Take what are those things called? Don't tell me. Oh, I almost saw it. That little pill people take to get water out of their body. Oh, guy, you know when you can see something but you just can't say it? Oh, guy, well, you guys know what I'm talking about. Oh, diuretic? Is it called a diuretic? Diuretic pill. I think it's called a diuretic. Anyway, praise God, I was never into diuretics. But that's just not my story. Okay, but the scary part is that I was having such pristine health. And maybe it was the insanity of wanting to do it perfectly. And yet, when I think about the 12 steps, and I think about AA in particular, and Dr. Bob, and, don't tell me I'm saying that again. No, Dr. Bob and Will W., right? Bill W. Yeah. Bill W. and Dr. Bob. Wow. Anyway, literally, when he said that half measures avail does nothing, it's so true. When you're a person like me, so deeply rooted in all things compulsive, okay? All things compulsive obsessive. Like that gray area, I never understood it. It was always black and white. I tried to chill a little as I got older, but I'm not that good at it. And I know that half measures avail me nothing. I know that when I start thinking, oh, well, you know what, maybe you're taking it too seriously. Well, maybe just a little. Well, I mean, you don't have to do it all perfect. I am already in trouble. I cannot do half measures, okay? They avail me nothing. And if they avail me anything, they avail me insanity, obesity, and sadly many other things. And again, by God's grace, I haven't participated in pills and alcohol and stuff, but and luckily I've never been obsessed with pornography or some of the other evils out there. But my biggest one is gluttony, and I've explained it many times that sadly all things to do with food lead to every other sin in my life. Because when I'm in the food, I am hiding. When I'm hiding in plain sight, I might add, because it's always when I'm the biggest that I think I'm actually hiding. When it's so clear to everybody, I'm completely out of control. So when I'm hiding, when I am lying my fool head off, because I don't want to tell people what my truth was regarding the food. When I am misspending money, which in itself is a sin because that money can go to other things. Like when I'm lying, like straight out lying, if somebody's going to ask me about it, right? I lie way easier when I'm in the food. So for me, that is my greatest detriment. That is my greatest challenge to overcome. That is my weakest spot, is anything to do with food and excess food, like straight up. And I just know that to be true. I can kind of see what happened. And as I was saying, I stopped writing in my journal. Sometimes when things are going well, I stop doing it. I just decide I'll just memorize or just credit myself as things are going well. And then all of a sudden they're not, and I have no evidence of it, right? I stopped using some of my tools, and that is super apparent, okay? And now I have that discomfort when I even dare to step towards what is the better way for me. I lost my taste buds. So suddenly my great healthy loveliness that I live for didn't taste as appealing as the toxic nonsense. And luckily this is something that can be easily turned around if I dare to have the courage to do it. Okay, and my thought, which is so typical of any addict, is to isolate and assure myself that I can do it all by myself, when in fact that isolation is what gets me into so much trouble, right? I mean, my car is usually clean and pristine, but if I'm eating nonsense in it, all of a sudden it needs to be vacuumed, which is very curious to like my husband, who's like, well, Julie, your car is always clean. Why in the world would you need it to be vacuumed? I won't dare say. I mean, other than an occasional rotted carrot that fell into the seat or something, there is no reason to be vacuuming my car, okay, unless I've been in the nonsense. There's so many things like that. Doing extra laundry because I'm mindlessly eating and spilling things on myself. Like that's another totally obvious sign for me, because that was true for me all the time. When I was obese, I'd wear so much stuff on my chest and kind of joke that I was saving it for later. Never funny and never appropriate. Just a bunch of things like that. And another thing, I did a couple of things. I promised I wasn't going to weigh myself, that I wasn't going to be in a weight loss competition that my school was doing. And somehow I faltered into that. Like my lesser self suddenly said, well, hey, I mean, you're working on it anyway, so you might as well, win the money. Why don't we go for it? Total trigger for me. I'm deciding that I was going to measure myself, right? Which all of a sudden put undue pressure on me. Like all of these little games sometimes that I get myself into. That's why I was trying so hard this time to not do the 100-day countdown to Christmas, the 50-day countdown to whatever, to New Year's. I was trying really hard not to do that because it puts a false sense of pressure on me, and my lesser self wants to put on an image, and it's a lot of work for nothing. It's not expected of me. Nobody expects it. I was trying really hard to be genuine and only doing things because I really felt called to do them, such as the random acts of kindness, which is no burden to anybody, or self-care, which is no burden to anybody. But I accidentally got caught up in these other games, and that pressure on me, which again, this pressure I put on myself, suddenly puts me into a tailspin. And there's about 4 different things in my life where I did that. And I have been in an absolute tailspin. And because I'm an addict, all of my old behaviors are coming back. And all of my terrible inner voice, which keeps me weak and uncomfortable and shames me, and all of that is in full force, people. It is a dark time in the midst of the light at JulesBlessedVegan. An irony, I know. So I know a lot of people have the grace to not be affected by what's going on in the world around them. Not me. I care a lot about what's going on in the world around me. I am very involved in everything that's going on, whether it's stuff in my classroom, stuff in the families of my kids, whether it's in the world, like the election going on right now, whether it's the COVID, like I'm affected by things like that. And I'm not blaming any of that on my current eating situation. I don't mean that, but I am really affected by stuff like that because I'm a prayer person. I'm always engaged in prayer for the world, and I'm always really concerned. And I'm in a situation right now where I live in an area, and I don't want to say which party. Okay, let me look for grace here. Oh, let me look for grace. I'm not going to say which party, but the other party, of which I'm not, is a big threat up here, okay? Like a lot of big trucks, monster trucks, okay? Light shining in your face, huge flags on the back, American flags waving, things saying, F you if you don't vote for so-and-so. And then there's certain banners on their homes, even on my street. And that made me really uncomfortable to put my Hump a Little banner because I was afraid my house would be burned down. And I think that's part of it. I think that's part of the intimidation. Well, as the numbers are coming in right now, I kind of feel like it just reminds me of every time the Lakers, with the exception of this one time in the COVID, but every time the Lakers won, whether they won or whether they lost, it was the same effect. They'd have riots. They'd throw police cars over. They'd burn them. Like every time, I'm not kidding you. It was under the premise of a celebration or under the premise of a loss. The result was the same. The irresponsible nightmares came out and went for broke. And there was a spirit of recklessness, and there actually is a spirit of recklessness. Like one of Satan's minions actually has the title of the spirit of recklessness and just loves to get this frenzy going among people, which I think we saw a couple months ago when the riots were going on, right? Over the death of George Floyd. So I'm afraid that with this election, as they are literally boarding up stores everywhere, and you probably saw like Rodeo Drive, God bless Rodeo Drive. I mean, why should they be screwed again and have their stores totally smashed out and stolen from? I mean, come on. Again, under the premise that win or lose, people love to cause chaos. And so I stayed home today because they were going to let people out early anyway, as a result of the election, to make sure we got home safely. But I don't think it was today, even though on every, what are they called? I want to say Passover, the freeway Passover. Anyways, bridges and stuff, people were hanging off of them, cheering, holding up their banners, screaming at people to vote and everything. That was for sure going on. But I think it's going to be the aftermath. So in the next few days to come. And I, encouraged people to make sure that they had basics, right? Because we don't know what that's going to look like. And I'm really sorry to say that. So anyway, just prayers all around. I was praying that we would make a better choice and not be predictable like the rest of the world expects us to be. I think they literally do vote in Vegas on what the outcome and the response will be. And I'm kind of sorry for that. But anyway, as the icon of this video read, this is a message to self, like honestly. And all these things, from weighing myself when I have no business, measuring myself when it becomes so competitive that my lower self wants to set me up for failure. My fear of giving my power away to others. I mean, just so many things. And I think part of it, and I'm grateful for this platform to be sharing, but sometimes I struggle with showing up because I'm like, I don't even know if I have a message worth sharing, and on, is that I want to be able to just be authentic in the moment. And this was so important. It read, the only person you should compare yourself to is the person that you were yesterday. And of course, that presumes that you're moving forward and trying to improve yourself. Because if you were hotter yesterday, do not be panicking. Do not be crying. Do not be lamenting over what you aren't anymore. And I certainly have darling Jules of years gone by. I had some great years there, but I had so many heavyweight champ years that I was very unhealthy, and I am certainly in a better position than I was then. But truly, can I make a better decision? Not tomorrow, tonight. Can I make a better decision tonight? You guys know I'm always up. So I have plenty of hours to make a better choice, But can I remember that I can only affect myself. I can only make best choices for myself. And that the only person I need to compare myself to is me yesterday, presuming I'm going in the right direction. All right, my friends, I just wanted to share all of that. I am praying for you. I don't know what the next couple of days hold, but I pray you're safe where you are. Please say a prayer for me and my animals. They were hoarding stuff again. I had to make sure we had enough hay and dog food. I can always grow sprouts. I can always fast until those sprouts grow, which praise God only takes 3 or 4 days. So I always have a sense of living food. My husband is content to have frozen food, which we have a generator. We actually purchased a generator so that I can, cook it if I have to for him. So we'll be okay. But I'm sorry that we even have to concern those things, but this is technically the devil's playground until we're united in Christ. And I just know that to be true. But we can still be the light, and I welcome that. So again, the only person you can compare yourself to is the person that you were yesterday, presuming you're going in a better direction. All right, like if you like doing this, if you haven't, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below how you can relate to what I just shared. Do you have an addict mentality? Are you in a bad place? Are you hoping to move forward? Where are you at, people? And until we talk again, best of all, know that I'm praying for you and know that you are blessed.